Martin, welcome to Radio Parvasi and good morning.
Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to be here on Parvasi and a pleasure to be with you, Mr. Sandy.
Okay, and now you are working as acting deputy mayor also in these days. So tell us more about this responsibility.
Well, I could say being the deputy mayor, obviously I was really trying to fill in when I guess Mayor Brown was on his leadership quest and, would be attending events and I provide the support wherever he can't go. And I try to not only be there, but also myself and Councillor Fortini when it comes to fulfilling the mayoral duties. Sometimes he can't be everywhere at one time, and we know that he was busy on a leadership race, and so it's been a pleasure being able to attend events and do activities on his behalf.
Okay, and unfortunately, Mr. Brown has been, he has been thrown out. What I should use properly from the race of the leadership of Conservative Party. He is, of course, looking for some kind of legal course of action, whatever party has decision party has taken. Mr. Poliver was our guest yesterday in the studio. I asked him a couple of questions regarding that. I'm not going to talk more about his leadership campaign with you, but so many things are happening at the City Hall. Yesterday, you guys had a press conference. Some of the councillors, city council, regional councillors, they were all together outside City Hall, and you have put lots of allegation of corruption and wrongdoings in the City Hall on Mr. Brown.
No, and I want to make it clear. So as part of the press conference yesterday, it's because as a result of, I guess, the leadership race and whatever decision that they have taken with, I guess, disqualifying Mayor Brown, many members of council received many inquiries by media. So again, it's one of those things that you kind of wish that Mayor Brown at the time took a leave of absence so he can focus on his leadership, which he has every right to do, and wish many of us wished him well to have someone from Brampton being a possible prime minister to leverage more investments in our community. So it was with that sort of spirit, but clearly there's been a lot of problems since, I guess, his leadership race, impacts at the city. There's investigations with, in terms of financial misproprieties, specifically forensic audits on, for example, things like Brampton University. You have, for example, consultants who build the city before they even got the contract. Before they even received the contract with the city of Brampton, they build the city for accommodation and for travel from the UK here to Brampton. And, they stated that they had to be here to wait for the awarding of the contract. Well, how did they learn that they were going to get the contract? So it's these type of things. It's, for example, paying consultants to lobby the provincial government. We have no idea what they lobbied. We've asked, for example, for minutes of the meeting. We've asked for, tell us what exactly you did for this money. Just show us. It's not a question. I'm not here to be an investigator. I'm here to serve the residents of Wards 3 and 4. But when a lot of things starting not adding up, and there's a lot of things that we have to investigate, then clearly there's a pattern. I won't speak to what happened at the federal government, but I am concerned with people, that part of our forensic audit are into people that somewhat have some form of a relationship or, worked on his campaign or maybe are associated with him or associated with the Conservative Party. So it's all these type of sort of things that have been happening at the city. And when you look back at, for example, some of the decisions that we made and the way the city's been engulfed into this leadership race, it's almost like the City Hall. We haven't had 4 council meetings. The business is not moving. They claim they put in an injunction because they don't like who we decided to be in the OSP seat. I am one of the councillors who said, okay, fine, let's debate this in council. But how can they accuse us of saying that what we did was wrong, where I'm open to say because the problem is not what we did. The problem is the person that we picked, because this person has been outspoken with. She was an advisor to Mayor Brown and helped him get elected. But now she, I guess for whatever reason or another, seems to be critical of some of the stuff that's happening at City Hall. So they simply don't want her there because she is critical of the improprieties. And as a Brampton resident, all of us should be upset what's happening with some of the allegations, especially the whistleblower from last year. So again, I want to be very clear. We have 4 meetings that are canceled, and all I hear is that, well, we're waiting for an injunction. Well, why do we have to do legal proceedings? Why can't the mayor and members of council, we sit at council chambers and come to a conclusion? Let's discuss a different name. But you can't negotiate with me outside of City Hall. And that's the funny thing is, and it's against the Municipal Act. We can't move city business. So if Mayor Brown came to my house today and said, here's another name, well, we have to do that in council. So call a special council meeting and let's discuss who another person they want, and we can be open to that discussion.
Okay, so after your press conference, Mayor Brown's staff took our staff, our team, our crew to his chamber, and he has given his version what's happening at the City Hall. So more or less all I could see, we are actually releasing that video and that information today in public domain also. He's putting allegation on Gurpreet Dhillon, regional councillor from Ward 9 and 10, more or less, and he's saying, he's blaming him actually, that he's instigating others to settle his score with him because of the allegation of sexual assault in him.
There's nothing personal here, and
yeah. So we will. That's why I want to talk to Gurpreet also later on if I have time. So my question is that City Hall, the working at the City Hall is at standstill now. It is unfortunate that City Council is divided, equally divided. No meeting is happening. So elections are still almost 2 or 3 months away. So for the last 2-3 months, what we are seeing, totally chaos at the City Hall.
Yes, no, and 100%. And one of the frustrating parts is, and again, I won't speak to what Mayor Brown thinks the motives are. Essentially, we're looking for investigation and we're doing an audit regarding the process. And just the fact that he took media into City Hall, and this has been our point from day one. If you're running for the leadership, everything you do with the leadership has to be outside of City Hall. You can't do press conferences on your leadership inside City Hall. You can't take Peter MacKay and do conservative memberships in City Hall. Like, this is not a place for partisan politics. We have a complete Liberal MPs, all 5 Liberal MPs, and we can't be doing that. So it just really becomes difficult if this is what's happening. With an election coming up, unfortunately, and, one thing I got to be very clear, a lot of these things that are being alleged are not directed at Mayor Brown. Some of them are direct, some of them involved, and I would never say they're closely at Mayor Brown. What it is that there's a lot of people around, and there's councillors who are supporting this type of stuff, and there's questionable relationships. For example, Councillor Santos, who has a former professor of hers, a former professor, someone that she went to go campaign for from the NDC, is the one who is won a contract with the city of Brampton. So that is concerning. So those are the type of things that we have to be very mindful. So it's not specifically to Mayor Brown. It's also to what's been happening as a culture at the city. And that, to me, when we talk about the last term of council under Linda Jeffrey, who I supported and very openly, but there wasn't this culture of financial mismanagement, of, consultants from the Liberal Party or any of that. There was none of this. People may not have liked some of the issues, some of the policies, but what we're dealing with today, it almost seems like it's a hang-up, and there seems to be a pattern of whatever we hear, whatever happens. And unfortunately, before, the election and when we had the change of the new mayor and some of the new councillors, I never thought we'd be in the situation we are today, because we generally, tried working together at the beginning. There was, somewhat of some of the stuff, but, as it is today, it's become into, dysfunction where there's no leadership right now. We've had a avoided leadership almost since Christmas. It's all been about, the PC leadership. Everything we do at the city, it's been about this, leadership race. And that's frustrating to me because that should not impact what's the city. Residents, for example, if you go to the parks, you see the state of the parks is not that as great. You see projects, projects which should have started, months ago, because of reaching a tax freeze, they had to defer these capital projects. And now with inflation going up and the costs going up, how much now the deferred projects, how much are they going to cost the residents of Brampton?
Okay.
So all the issues that matter to us have been put to side because of what's been happening with the circus. And now us as councillors, I had nothing to do with the Conservative leadership race, but it seems that we've all been pulled into this. And some of my colleagues, yes, they can go help and do whatever they want on their free time, but City Hall has been paralyzed because of what's happened.
Okay, let's hope for the best. Actually, we have elections now on 24th of October. So Brampton residents, Brampton voters have a choice to elect new people, whoever this seems, able to lead them at the City Hall. So let's see what you guys decide, our listeners, our readers, our viewers. We will keep you informing all the time. That's what our job is. But anyway, thank you, Martin Morris. Anything you want to add at the end?
No, I would just say thank you, Mr. Sandy, and that people get informed. Because all I hear is that people, only now, because what's happening at the federal leadership, that people start catching on what's happening at City Hall. No matter, this has been going on for 2 years. Things have been happening. Ask your councillor which way they're supporting. Ask them how come they haven't gone to work. 4 canceled meetings in a row, but yet everyone's getting paid. And the last thing I will say, the staff morale is so down. We have great staff at the City of Brampton. They are so down that they feel the culture that's been built at the city is not a culture that we want to be proud of. So I ask residents, take interest in what's happening in their municipality and reach out to their local councillors. Thank you, Mr. Sandy.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, thank you, Martin Medoris. And it's shameful, I would say. It's really, really sad that it's taxpayers' money which they pay to these councillors, mayors, all those elected officials, representatives, and how they misuse the system. It's really, really sad. Unfortunate also. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.